Right. Welcome to the Creator Show. My name is David, and I've been working with creators worldwide to help them monetize their knowledge. Today, we have Dr. Chérie and Coach Michael joining us on the show. Dr. Chérie, also known as the mother of coaching, with over 50 years of experience as a behavioral scientist and an executive master certified coach, she's accomplished a lot in her career. She's also a best-selling author at the New York Times and Amazon, and has been a frequent guest speaker on many shows, including Oprah. Uh, she, Dr. Chérie is also a master certified coach recognized by the International Coach Federation. And that's just not it. She's also a certified scuba diver, an instrument rated private pilot, and she's lived all over the world, immersing herself in different cultures. Uh, Coach or Michael, better known as Coach Michael, is a seasoned trainer, facilitator, and coach with over 25 years of experience under his belt. And he's worked with executives to help them develop their leadership skills and even dabble in business and sports television for over a decade and a half. As an internationally recognized professional lecture agent, he's also merged his passion for coaching with his media expertise to empower people to achieve their goals. And when he's not coaching, you can find Coach Michael exploring the great outdoors by cycling, golfing, flying planes as a instrument rated pilot, and also a scuba diver. Right. Welcome to the show, guys, and it's an honor for me to be hosting both of you all today.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. Great to be here.
Awesome. So, Dr. Chérie, over the last 50 years, you've donned multiple hats, be it a life coach, best-selling author, motivational speaker, and many more other roles that you've taken on successfully. If for my viewers, if I had to ask you, how would you describe yourself?
A Renaissance woman who has embraced her qualities and listened to her calling and has fulfilled her purpose on earth.
Wow, that's wonderful. I mean, to be able to, not many get the opportunity to be able to, work through the calling and to be able to, fulfill everything that they want to. Fulfilling also, I think, entails empowering others, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So I did go through your website, MMS Coach Training. Can you explain what MMS coaching is all about?
Yes. As a child, I wondered about the purpose of life, and I wondered about how people would treat each other, starting with my family, then with friends, and of course, watching in the media how people would treat each other, whether they were husband and wife, loved ones, employer, employee. And I wondered, what was the purpose of being disrespectful or rude or unkind to another person? And I wondered, is there a different way of being and doing? When I was a child, whenever I came up with something that I wanted to have as a dream, like be an actress, I was told, you can't do that. That's not a good profession. You shouldn't want that. And when you talk someone out of their dream, the next answer to a question called, what do you want to be when you grow up, is, I don't know. Because when their answer is unacceptable, then the next answer is, I don't know. Because my answer was not okay. So to me, the purpose of MMS coaching is to help people make decisions and choices from an inner directed place where they're connected to their authentic self, know what they want, and determine it in the safety, support, and trusting environment that's non-judgmental, that's provided by a coach to allow them to reveal their inner truth.
Thank you for that. Now, within MMS, do you, along with training, do you also train coaches, or is it just do you do like coaching for everybody that comes on there?
I do coach currently, mostly people in the C-suite.
Okay.
But mostly what Michael and I do with our transformational executive coach certification program is we train people in 9 different locations around the world in conjunction with our licensees who have the right to promote, produce, and present our intellectual property that we've designed to their audiences, both in person and virtual.
Wow, that's awesome. So you must have, I'm guessing, over the last 40, 50 years, trained a lot of different coaches. I know this is something I was talking to Rahul some time back as well, where we spoke about the amount of coaches that have come, straight out of MMS. Did you how many do you think you've trained so far?
It's hard to estimate because of the numbers of people, and over 50 years,
Right.
people have retired or died, and we don't know how many are still around today, but I suspect the number is somewhere around 10,000.
Wow. So that's a record in itself. I'm guessing it's probably in the Guinness Book of World Records as well. Probably find your name over there for having coached so many folks so successfully. Uh, I also did notice on the website uh, there's something called as Lightspeed virtual training. Can maybe both of you all can share your perspectives on this about how this works?
Years ago, 15 or so,
At least, yeah.
we met Bradley, who was the founder of Lightspeed.com. And Lightspeed to us in those days was sensational because it meant that creators like us could reveal their online training and record it with questions and answers and allow people anywhere in the world to participate in it. So, for instance, if one of your viewers wanted to learn about coaching and they wanted a very short course, 1 month, 5 hours with me speaking directly to them online, it would cost them $30, $1 a day, to be able to determine, is coaching for them or not.
So this platform is available 24/7. So if you can't sleep at night or you're traveling on a train or plane, you can just plug it in with Wi-Fi and learn the coaching skills from Dr. Chérie. And over 5 hours, you said, but how many modules? 30? Ranging from 1 minute to 16 minutes in length. So if you wanted a short, you only have a few minutes, you'd watch that. And then you would answer a few questions to move on to the next video.
Right. Awesome. So with looking at both of you come from this coaching background. Both of you have trained with I guess in different ways, right? So when you look at some of the more memorable coaching experiences y'all have had, whether it's with a client or whether it's with an individual, how if you can maybe pick out one experience about how this has impacted, it would help.
If you might let me just share one experience, because my coach, and I didn't know at that time, I knew it was Dr. Chérie, but my dream trip was first trip to go to Europe. And
Okay.
Dr. Chérie and I thought I'm going to go to Europe. And when I was on the Autobahn with her driving, she had asked me a number of questions about my career, because I was at a crossroad going, what am I going to do with my life? And so she asked me a number of questions through about my 3 hours of driving. And from that, she took all my information, my keywords, and put it back into ingredients and a recipe for my life. And I said, what am I going to do?
And I said, you're going to be behind the scenes, and you're going to be a trusted advisor who supports individuals and organizations, primarily 2 organizations, in brokering their opportunities together and making something wonderful happen. And you're the deal maker. You're the wizard behind the curtain.
Right.
So in the end, I was going, am I going to be a broker, an agent? And I did my research, and this is where I started my company to become an international lecture agent for 20 years.
That's wonderful. And all while you were, it was all very spontaneous, right? While you were on in a trip in Europe, and then you're you decided to talk more about it and start the journey from right there itself. That's just great. So we know we at least from all of yours as well who's read about you, who's seen your website and all of the videos as well. There have been a lot of a lot of great heights in your career. Can you share maybe one such high, and also maybe also share any one challenge that you faced in your career?
We can share
Oh,
lots of them. Which one would you? The
well,
higher the lower.
well, the big challenge was going from face to face right when COVID hit
Right.
to online. That was a
Right.
huge gap for us. Both of us did not believe at that time that virtual training was substance and could work in a certified situation for our program, because we'd done face to face and you have to be there, look in their eyes and around the space, feel the energy, feel their emotions to make coaching work.
And we had a belief system that unless you're up close and personal with your participants, it just will never work. So we had to get over our own beliefs that were blocking the future in that situation with COVID. Now, mentioning that, every time there's been a new technological breakthrough, it's been a challenge for us. We weren't born with computers in our hands. We weren't born with iPads in our diapers.
Yeah.
We were part of the generation that was born with pen and paper and did things manually. So when I started MMS, Motivation Management Service, Worldwide Institute now, in 1974, it was very different than it is now, very different. And we didn't have computers. We had IBM typewriters.
Right.
We didn't have PowerPoint. We might have had overhead projectors, but we didn't have any of the technology now. So every time the technology has leapt forward, we have had to dig in and learn everything we could that would allow us to stay current in the game, and not necessarily ahead of the curve, but at least in the pipeline.
And if you're looking at the technology, we're talking about Zoom, embracing Zoom from the beginning and being tutored on and experimenting. And now we've done about 900 Zoom training hours online since COVID started. So we don't know everything. We know a few things and tricks, but not everything, but it's still enjoyable.
And we're learning more every day.
Absolutely. So as much as a hindrance technology was for your method of teaching, that is, face to face, it has also been in a way a boon to be able to get that outreach worldwide, and to be able to reach as many people as you can, and to be able to kind of just share your material to people all over the world. Right?
Absolutely, because David, before COVID happened, we were literally traveling 200,000 miles per year, each of us,
Wow.
on the Star Alliance around the globe. So we would go from point to point, to Bangkok, and then to Ho Chi Minh City, and then to Shanghai, and then to San Francisco, around the globe, hub to hub, empowering our people, training them on the job and how to be able to conduct our trainings. And it was wonderful, exhilarating, empowering, and exhausting. And then when COVID hit and we became familiar with Zoom, we decided we need to learn how to do this technology, because this is where we are and what we need to learn. So we need to get savvy and fast. Overcoming every adversity, every obstacle, every challenge has been part of the journey of being an entrepreneur and creators of our intellectual property.
Absolutely. I think COVID in a way has basically, when COVID hit and everybody was kind of locked indoors, I usually tell a lot of the creators I speak to, right, it kind of closed the doors for everyone, but it opened a lot of gates as well, because
Yes.
from the comfort of your living room, you're now able to reach somebody in Brazil, or somebody in Thailand, somebody in Australia, right, just sitting from your house. And what's really, I don't know, I feel like maybe to a certain part, yes, technology has definitely helped in kind of, the outreach, but also I feel it also comes with a lot of the experience that you've gained over the years, with those manual, in-person meetings, and the that I think that coupled with technology is kind of powering post-COVID right now at this point.
Yes, so one of the things that our MMSVT.com does for people, it allows them to become very focused, which is one of the reasons that we included in our longer courses. We have level 1, level 2, and level 3 that we include. And people are so distracted these days. They're multitasking all the time. And so the VT, the virtual training, helps them to become focused, to become present, to become connected, and to be able to see with a little multiple choice test at the end of it, were they present? Were they 100% in the moment? Those are important questions, because if you're not, it's going to be difficult to be a coach. You can't coach someone and be taking notes and watching TV and listening to music and getting the kids to calm down and changing the channel on the receiver. You can't. Coaching is about focus, and it's about being present. And so, again, I reiterate, if your listeners, viewers, if your audience is interested in finding out more, MMSVT.com.
And the great news, David, is that the VT also now has subtitles. We're working in Chinese, simple characters, and also Vietnamese and Thai.
Wow, wonderful.
So English is the main language right now, but we're diversifying.
Branching out.
Yep.
So videos come with your captions with any language for anybody all over the world. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? So speaking of VT, with the rise of VT platforms as well, right? How do you see the coaching industry changing in the coming years?
It's a hard question to answer because of AI, artificial intelligence. We just don't know if those bots are going to be as sentient creatures as we are as humans, and if they're going to be able to empathize and connect and be able to really listen and pick up cues. It's galloping forward, so I can't predict. Can you?
No, but I believe that certified trainer, like our company, we're accredited and we certify coaches, that's going to still be, a want. And I believe lifelong learning is going to be another one. Do that in the privacy of your home, like we talked about, or in an office. I think that's going to be really important, and I think it's going to continue to grow.
Well, okay, I could be devil's advocate and say, what if a bot could be accredited to certify coaches?
Right.
Well, it could happen.
It could. But in any case, it's a little bit beyond our prophetic capabilities at this moment.
Right. Absolutely. I feel with AI, AIs are basically built so they can maybe help you still do what you do, but shouldn't have to do what you do, right? I mean, it should be there to assist, maybe help you create content, help you maybe set up your entire platform, but leave the coaching, leave the speaking, leave the connecting to the experts, right? I mean, that's just my two take on that.
I appreciate that.
That's a nice endorsement.
Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. But with our virtual training, or virtual, the way we're doing it now, you talked about having somebody from another country come in. There's no borders now, because we're doing face-to-face in Thailand. You might get somebody across the border from Singapore, from Vietnam, maybe flying from Japan.
Or
now we have sometimes 10 nationalities
or more.
And that's wonderful. The demographics and the age and the education and their background and their work experience, it just brings a rich program to us.
People love the diversity. They love the coaching community online. They love the fact that there's nothing that restricts people from showing up, and they appreciate each other at such a deep level.
I think, when you have people from various backgrounds or various cultures, working together or collaborating together, learning together, it kind of, I feel it not just, I guess it teaches everybody, not just to do it their way, but also to try and adopt, somebody else's way of learning, or, and because they come from certain cultures, they have their history of how they've their approach to life or to anything in life. So yeah, I think that kind of helps as well, right? So
different cultures.
We love
right. So with the so okay, now because we've gone, we've gone borderless, and people from all over the world are now being able to, you're able to interact with everybody from all over the world now. So uh, what would you say would be the disadvantages now of online versus in person, or
it.
would there be any
Yeah.
advantages left?
Well, I have an opinion about that.
Right.
And my opinion is that people who are introverts really prefer online virtual experiences like we're doing right now.
Right.
People who are extroverts really want to be present with other people and have contact, and especially cultures where they give hugs and kisses. Like, for instance, in the Netherlands, they give 3 kisses, one on each
And
cheek.
in France,
In France, 3 and sometimes 4. And those cultures, it's part of the culture. It goes very deep. And if they're prohibited from giving hugs and kisses, they feel it a loss. So extroverts, especially coming from European cultures, I think will really gravitate to being in person again. Whereas introverts from Asia would just as soon have it be virtual.
well, we do have a licensee in the Netherlands that we created a hybrid for them. The first weekend would be live, face to face, like they love, and then module virtually, and then they'll come back and do again another weekend to reconnect for the closure.
So you mentioned parts of Europe. This is basically the culture where the physical contact or the in-person is more important than just the virtual, right? And when you look at Asia, it's more about the introverts, and kind of have everything virtual. What about the US? Or what about North America? Is it the same, or would it be a blended?
I think the US is a culture that's more geared towards face-to-face training, also because they have so many facilities throughout the continent of North America where they book venues, and then people get to go and have a kind of business meeting and vacation, and they can have a vacation.
Yes.
But I also think it has a lot to do with whether people like to congregate with others or they really like to have the one-on-one contact. I think that depends on their preferences.
Well, David, I was looking at a challenge on virtually. If you have a lot of executives, and we have executives from all over, sometimes on Friday, and this is, and we didn't know this until we experienced it, they might multitask. And part of our ground rules, our netiquette, is to turn off your phones, move your computer away from the business side, and just focus in on your Zoom. And you'll see some of them multitask. You can see their eyes move around and over here and that. And we know there's nothing we can do because they're paying their energy, their time, and they get what they put into it.
And they're grown-ups, and we're not policemen.
Yeah. So that could be a disadvantage for learning, but everybody has a different learning style anyway, auditory or kinesthetic.
And we don't conduct our programs like it's a schoolroom and we call on people and say, oh, David, what do you want to say about that? We don't do it like that.
Right.
We actually conduct our programs as if it's the two of us talking about coaching, offering the core competencies, the definition, case studies, even coaching each other and coaching the participants. So the people who really are eager to learn will step up and they'll volunteer and they'll say, I'd like to be coached, or I'd like to volunteer myself as a coach. And we use those as learning opportunities for the students to be able to learn what to do, what not to do, what are some of the pitfalls, what are some of the challenges, how to overcome them, tools and techniques as well.
And then you got the surprise multiple choice after every chapter to if anybody has to, so people are actually paying attention, right? I mean, everybody's grown up. Everybody's responsible for their own outdoing, I say. But yes, I mean, at the end of the day, it's if you're going to spend time investing in a specific learning or a skill, you would want to make sure that the time is well utilized, right? I mean, there's no point in trying to juggle multiple things while doing this. So, I mean, so I
Right.
mean,
But people are very stressed these days with the expectations on them, and they are challenged in the area of time management,
right.
project management, execution. It's very hard for them to be able to ensure that they get everything done. So, we were trying to pick the days of the week to have our training happen. We were saying, well, people say they don't want to do it during the weekdays because they can't take time off their job. They don't want to do it in the evenings because they don't want to take time away from their families. And then the weekends, they get to relax and be with their families. When's the right moment? Is it when they're sleeping and we send them vibes through the emails? So we split the difference. We do part of Friday afternoon, and then we do part of Saturday afternoon. So that splitting the difference means late Friday afternoon.
Right.
If they're in a high enough position, they can take the time to train. And Saturday afternoon, same. They can have their time with their family just 3 hours away. And most people like that, and they appreciate the opportunity to not be all business or all personal.
But David, we do a proper enrollment to find out, are they forced to be there by their company, or is it a calling? Do they really want to learn the coaching skills? So if they're all in because they get to make a choice, then they're 100% there.
Right.
If they're not tapped, they're tapped and say, you have to do that, David. They might just step back and say, I'll do what I can and I'll participate, but it's not a want. It's a should from my boss.
So forced compliance just doesn't work in the coaching industry, either to be coached or to be trained to become a professional coach.
Got it. One last question. So what advice would you have for upcoming coaches? Like what should they be doing to bring in that positive change, in the society like y'all have been doing all these years?
Well, want to start or want me to start?
Just do one. Go back.
Alternate?
Alternate.
Yeah, okay.
She could tell the whole story and I could just be mute, but this is a
Number one, listen to your heart, do what you love and are good at, and follow that regardless of what people say to you.
I would say, added to that, continuous learning. Just don't stop at one certification, level 1. Go to level 2. And if you have the desire to go to level 3 as a master coach, continue to build your credentials.
Or any career, because they might be creators in totally different fields.
I thought David as a coaches. You have any?
Oh, okay, just as coaches.
Yeah, if it's any career, right? Continue to build on your education and knowledge.
Okay, so remember that if you're an entrepreneur and you're a creator of content, maybe what you want to do is make certain that you allocate time for all the different facets of your job. So for instance, you allocate time to do the creation of your content. You allocate time to market that content, and you allocate time to continuously improve yourself and your skills in terms of technology or social media or AI, whatever it is that's going to be embracing the future, because you need to always think now and future. Anything else to add?
Yeah, I would also look for a reputable mentor, somebody who's been in the business long enough that can help you guide your way. If it might be a coaching, it could be whatever career we're talking about. Everybody should have a mentor in their career to help them springboard them to the next level. And anything that's a good one.
You have to be able to pivot. If you're going down the road like we were face to face, and you're faced with COVID, and nobody knew this was going to happen, you all of a sudden can't go, oh dear, isn't this terrible? Let's just sit and cry. You have to be able to pivot and say, what can we do to stay viable and in the game after all these years, and not just go off into the future and cry. So you have to be able to pivot. You also need to anticipate what's coming. You can't just have your head down to what you're doing and ignore the future. You can't. you have to also be resilient. If things happen to you, what do? You bounce back.
You bounce back.
Resilient.
Sure. Another one I would say is, if like International Coaching Federation, there is a large federation, 50,000 coaches. They have annual meetings. They have quarterly meetings. They have regional meetings. Be part of that, because the thought leaders are always bringing something new to you, and you can learn something in any of these groups. And during COVID, we attended an online conference. And now, since COVID has subsided, this conference will be in Florida, I believe.
That's right. In August.
In August. So this is the first time in 3 years that they will be face-to-face.
The other thing that I would say is listen to your messages. So if something comes inside you and it says, call this person, email this person, do research on this topic, find out about, don't discount, discredit, and dismiss it. Follow it. See where it takes you, because your greatest mentor in life is your inner compass. And that's really your most precious gift to listen to now and always.
Thank you so much for that. I think that is definitely going to help a lot of coaches that are going to be going down this path, and hopefully they will listen to all of that they've just said. Find a great mentor, be resilient, pivot when needed. Make sure that you don't give up. Keep finding a way. Punching through those walls. Keep going. Absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Dr. Chérie and Michael, for being on this and doing this with us. And if anybody is interested, please do visit your website, which is mmsvt.com, to learn more about the coaching and the courses that are offered over there as well. Thank you to the both of you all.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.